Hello again, PerfBytes listeners. It's Lucifer here, giving a big shout out to my good friends Mark and James for their continued coverage of the worldwide IT disasters and outages. Love the work you guys are doing. Don't forget to send a pair of those PerfBytes shoes right after this week's edition of The News of the Damned.
Can you dig it?
That just sounds painful. You know, you're sitting there on the webpage, it's just spinning and spinning, just like when they skewer your bowels over an open flame in a spit, right?
Just like rotisserie chicken.
It is. It tastes like chicken too. I don't know if you know that. It's been proven.
We'll take your word for that, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome to another edition of the News of the Damned, and this is a whopper, James. We have so many things to cover, and of course, we're obviously not going to disappoint anyone in the UK. I feel so bad about it. I mean, we'll talk a little bit about what Mahesh and Richard posted overseas.
So, Mark, I'm torn. I don't know how to break this stuff down. Do we break it down by continent, because we have a couple of different continents represented here? Do we break it down by country? You know, give me some guidance here, and then I'll run with it.
Well, I think since News of the Damned has really become global. It's like a global news report. And so maybe we start sort of, since we're domestic, we'll start with domestic news. Or maybe we start global and then come home and bring it home.
So if we started at the most distant point and worked our way back.
Yes, that sounds good.
Okay.
It looks like if you start domestic, you may be able to start in the town I'm in right now.
Potentially. So we're going to work our way back to you, Howard. We're going to go for the most distant point for you, which would be 18 hours away on Qantas from where you're at in the Los Angeles area, to the continent of Australia.
Australia.
Hi,
mate. Australia.
So do you think they have jackalopes in Australia?
No, there are no jackalopes in Australia.
No, there are no jackalopes in Australia. So there is a group there called Tame Impala.
Tame Impala, which sounds weird.
It does. When I originally looked at this, I was reading this new Tame Impala track causes website crash. And I'm thinking, oh, well, you know, there's a racetrack and they've tamed some Impalas and they've got them racing around and I guess they're taking bets and it failed. Nope. I was completely off track. No pun intended.
Yes.
The singing group, Tame Impala, released a track called Let It Happen on their website. And evidently I was really far off.
Yeah.
Exactly. It did involve a website. That's about all I got correct there.
Yes.
And evidently they're so popular down under, despite the fact that they're not representing anything that has kangaroo in the title, that their website crashed.
And so apparently, I think Howard is laughing at the same thing I was, which is apparently they were just letting it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly the name of the title. It's Let It Happen. It causes website crash.
Those groovy cats, or I should say those groovy Impalas, were just letting it all happen, huh?
Yeah.
Exactly. Tame Impala. But again, it's they had a promotion. They knew they were launching these tracks, these tickets, and like a lot of artists now, I'm noticing a Hailstorm. Hale is another, Lindsay Hale and Lizzie Hale and the guys. They don't release a record like they used to. They do it sort of a track at a time. They do an event here, an event there. So you kind of have to stay tuned in, and you're sort of eagerly awaiting each new track until the full thing gets put out there. These guys must be doing something very similar to that. I'm looking at a picture of them, and they don't look tame.
Yeah, this is a classical CDN problem right here.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you've got thousands of people coming, and of course, all of them are hammering the server owned by Tame Impala.
There is no CDN. It's all going back to origin. There is no,
Exactly.
Oh
And that's what caused this problem, is that all the requests are pounding the snot out of the Tame Impala web server.
Yeah, I have to say, when I'm looking at the picture of the 4 members, it's the 3 guys and a woman. None of them look like they're capable of doing any infrastructure work whatsoever with a computer.
And what would clue you into that, Mark?
That freakishly thin and just sort of that blank look in the eyes. I mean, probably open to the musical inspirations that they're known for, and I think that's beautiful. They should not be trusted to actually do IT, networking, and setting up a website. I mean, good Lord, how hard is this? Just call someone else up and let them do it, you know?
I have a quick question for you.
Yeah?
What if you put Tame Impala in the same room as White Lion? What do you think would happen?
Throw a guitar in the middle and see what happens.
Exactly. Looking at these 4, they would lose. I think White Lion would just probably pound the snot out of them.
Well, I just figured White Lion would just, kill the Impalas and eat them.
But I'm not gonna diss on musicians. But yeah, they just don't try to do it yourself. You can't run this off your laptop or under your desk. Somewhere in the house, go find a real service. Call me up. I'll just help you set up a freaking website that will scale, and then you won't be tame. You'll be a wild Impala racing around the racetrack.
Then you can beat up White Lion.
That's right. That's exactly right. Tame Impala.
So Mark, we're going to take it from the UK and we're going to bring it back to kind of the mother, or we're going to take it from Australia. We're going to bring it back to the UK.
Yes.
And I got to say, this has got to be the oldest person on record to crash a website.
What?
And it's a member of the British royal family, sort of.
This is a good one. I love this one.
Richard III.
Richard III.
What?
Yes.
He's a dead monarch?
He's a dead monarch, and he crashed a website.
From beyond the grave? You think Lucifer had anything to do with this?
Well, it did involve the sale of tickets.
Yeah.
So you have this combination of a dead monarch plus ticket sales to see what's going on with the dead monarch, and well, it is the UK and it does involve a ticket sale, and it was probably handled locally, and everybody wants to see Richard III before he's reinterred. So
yeah, exactly.
It seems rather obvious to me what would happen.
Yeah, it just website completely crashed.
People were buying tickets to see his freaking bones or something.
Well, apparently it was like there's an internment service, which is sort of the rose laying ceremony. It's the 529th anniversary of the Battle of Bosworth at the Battlefield Heritage Center, spelled with R-E. See how they do that? The crafty people. But you can see in the picture, it's quite a crowd. This is a big deal, right, in terms of an event for these folks. And but you had to get tickets, and they went on sale at a specific time, 10 a.m. And on that particular, this recent Tuesday, last week, and bam, done.
And Howard, it's Leicester. What else is there to do except to go view a dead monarch and the interment ceremony?
Yeah. Now, keep in mind the price of the tickets were $2 and £2.5.
So clearly, what happened is that they priced it too low for demand.
Yeah. So
is that their pricing model didn't take into account the excessive demand. If they priced it higher, maybe they would not have had this excessive demand.
Or, for that little amount of money, just take a donation at the door, because they only sold 600 out of the 2,000 tickets they intended to.
Well, yeah, good point. Hand over a £5 note at the door.
Yeah, exactly. Just make a donation. They probably get more money that way anyway, the old-fashioned way.
No, you know how they get more money? They could have a Led Zeppelin reunion at the reenactment.
There you go.
Then they could charge more.
That would be good. I would like that. But now we have Princess Kate and Prince George, and now Richard III.
Yeah, we can't really ascribe this one to the House of Windsor, because I think he was in a competing family at that point.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll put a little tick mark here for, we'll just call it British royal family. And if they keep crashing stuff, we'll have to give them a award at the end of the year or something.
Yes. But now this is not the only thing that's crashing in the UK, right?
No, and once again, it involves tickets.
Tickets.
Yes, it's a company called TrainSplit.
TrainSplit, which is a weird technique that we ended up researching here, and it's some weird thing about buying the tickets and splitting, whether you're doing a round trip and going back and forth. I mean, it was all kinds of weird.
I believe someone in the United States got in trouble for that with the airline industry because they were buying one-way tickets instead of buying round-trip tickets and going through odd cities in order to get really, really cheap discounted tickets.
Yeah.
And it sounds like for whatever reason, they're not doing it with planes in the UK. They're doing it with the train system.
Oh, so they could spend 12 times as long getting?
Exactly. 12 times as long, but half the price. So, Howard, what they tweeted was, we're sorry if you can't connect. We've had to limit connections because of the sky-high demand, but we're getting new servers ASAP.
Oh, I really love that.
I mean, that's just brutal. We've had to limit connections because of sky-high demand rather than ordering new servers, but we're getting new servers ASAP. ASAP, if they were in the cloud, would be like 5 seconds ago. So these guys are clearly running it from underneath their desk.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and somebody kicked a server or something.
Well, you do know that the pirate radio was very, very popular in the UK, like in the late 60s and into the early 70s, right? So now maybe they have pirate ticketing.
Pirate ticketing? No. The thing that tips me here, James, is we've had to limit connections. Well, that means they clearly ran out of server power of some CPU or whatever their IP space for connection, whatever it was. So this is really kind of, they're going to throw hardware at the problem, but thanks for tweeting it.
Or very likely what happened is they had all these mobile users that have longer latch time, and they simply ran out of connections.
35,000 IP ports. Can't get it.
Hey, it's tough running your business on a TRS-80.
Ooh.
Or on a MacBook Pro sitting in the back office.
Well, hopefully it was a TRS-80 Model 3.
The website went down when I closed my laptop in the coffee shop and walked home. TrainSplit, great idea, bad implementation.
And I believe we have a report from Mahesh and Richard, do we not?
Yeah, the guys at Trust IV, who are good friends there in the northern areas, northern territories. But special thanks to Richard, who, when I do say, Howard, that I sincerely feel bad for these guys, I know we've got some really talented performance folks over in the UK, and we've had Richard give a perf rant about the UK, but he wrote a nice blog article, again, sort of showcasing that he's quite embarrassed for his fellow countrymen keep showing up on the news of the dam, and I hope everyone understands we don't just lambaste blindly these different sites. We do care quite a bit. We want to bring attention to it so that guys like Richard and Mahesh can actually jump in and help them out. But unfortunately, we have another ticketing site that even Mahesh and Richard brought to our attention as they reported another anger on social media. What did they talk about here?
It's for the band Muse.
I guess they weren't that inspiring.
Oh
my gosh. So let me rephrase here. So it's actually the second time, James, as they brought to our attention, that Ticketmaster UK was behind the crashing of the Muse site. And it was tickets for all sorts of rock bands of an upcoming UK tour. But thank you for the second time, Ticketmaster. So Ticketmaster may be behind all of this stuff, for all we know.
I know Ticketmaster has kind of like a private branding arm where you can sign up and use their engine to do the actual ticket processing.
Redirect, put your own domain on it, yeah.
but you can build your own website. So you could build a really bad website in front of their engine. And so it would be interesting to find out, was this a Ticketmaster owned site and managed site, or was this a band owned site with Ticketmaster on the back end?
Yeah. Or how customized do they let people get? And if you take some liberties and they don't really give you the guidance, then you probably make some mistakes and then it ends up not good. But again, this is the danger of APIs. If you really don't understand what's happening behind those APIs, or James, I think the point is sometimes these guys don't really understand point load. They just saying, there's servers somewhere over there in the cloud. I don't know how this stuff works. People just assume it's going to scale, and it doesn't. It doesn't. And so you got to test it to make sure that.
I was going to ask you, what's that mean? You had to test that?
Yeah, test it.
And if it is on Ticketmaster's infrastructure, and I'm only speculating, well, this will be a nice little thought. Are they not responsible? Where's the testing responsibility lie in that point in time?
It'd be interesting to review the contract. Yeah, they might. For all we know, Ticketmaster's policy is we don't allow certain customers of a certain grade to do load testing of the live Ticketmaster site. So if you're going to take that accountability or take that ability away from your customers, then who's really asking questions?
Well, I know for their big sites, they have an in-house testing service.
They have a sandbox.
But when you're looking at a smaller venue, a nightclub, a local band, things of that nature, although Muse sounds like they're a fairly sizable band.
They are, yeah.
For a UK tour. That self-service side of the website, I think it's... maybe like a little bit, a local ownership of say a testing tool manufacturer. You put the content up there and you're responsible for testing it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Or they have a sandbox environment for functional testing, but they don't really in integration, but they don't really support load testing in that environment at all. And,
Boy, that's a real amusing thought, isn't it?
Now, Howard, this next one is going to have a great appeal to you and I. Jeremy Clarkson, host of Top Gear.
Yes.
He got into a little trouble recently.
What did he do?
Some sort of tiff with the producer that may have escalated to more than words.
Oh, yeah. I think they got into an actual fight. But I mean, Clarkson he's a gruff character, very opinionated, kind of scrappy.
Yeah, he's got that hair on his head that looks like pubic hair.
Yeah, exactly. But also, I mean, he said some off-color remarks here and there in the shows. He's gotten some warnings before. He pushes the envelope. He's not very apologetic about it, and I think the British media is rather polite. I mean, you can be a little naughty. You can push the envelope, but still they're a rather polite kind of society.
Oh, he was an axe murderer, but he was an okay chap.
For somebody who likes to kill small children, I think he was a rather affable fellow.
Yeah, but evidently, so he's got some downtime. Because of this more than words type of altercation with a coworker. And evidently this resulted in a survey of people wanting him to return.
Yes. So there was a plea and lots of people wanting to jump on as like a petition to say bring him back and petition the BBC to put him back on the air, which is not to be confused. There are some news stories about there's some hacking. The survey petition site actually did bring the site down under load, but after that, James, I think now they're saying there was either some hacking or some hilarity about it.
Are you referring to the 500 error message screen, which had a demonic circus clown on it?
Again, see, I think it's Satan. Satan is he's having a great time with funny looking, weird, creepy clown people on a 500 error.
Well, hey, Mark, we didn't ask him to create content for us.
No, that's true. We didn't.
All he asked for was shoes.
Yeah, he asked. That was right. And this is a hands-off kind of situation. I'm not possessed at all. But what was the phrase here? Some described the eerie circus character as demonic, while others claimed the fiery clown apocalypse is evidently nigh.
Smell a cop when I gear out.
So it wasn't so bad. We had really 1, 2, 3, 4 stories from the UK. Not all related to tickets. So, yeah. So,
and we're going to balance that out with 3 from the United States.
Yeah, 3 great stories from the United States.
Are we going to bring it back home soon?
And we're going to start with the one that is furthest distant from Howard.
Okay.
This was a repeat performance on News of the Damned for the Kennedy Center for the Book of Mormon.
No way.
Yes,
I believe.
Last year their ticketing website blew up for the Book of Mormon sales, and this year it blew up again.
So they didn't learn the first time, did they?
No,
not at all. Not at all.
Those silly gooses.
I know, and you'd think there'd be something written in the Book of Mormon about keeping a website from crashing. I mean, Howard, will you check? You're in a Marriott right now, aren't you? There's a Book of Mormon probably in the bedside.
There is, right in the nightstand. I can go look and peruse.
Yeah, go open it up. Flip about halfway through. I think there's a whole thing about how to create a giant database and build a website.
Well, why here it is. You're absolutely right, Mark. You must have read it before.
No, it's the whole familysearch.org, and those guys know how to build really awesome, huge scaling websites. Why? Oh, wait a minute. The Book of Mormon is the satire.
South Park.
It's the South Park guys. Yeah. All right. So a repeat offender. Didn't quite get it the first time.
Yeah. We need some special awards for repeat offenders. Maybe we need to send them a little plaque as a repeat offender on News of the Damned or something. Maybe they'll put it up in the hallway at the Kennedy Center.
I think you give them some encouragement and just say, "Hey, nice work. Remember, third time's a charm." Exactly. What's the next one here?
Well, the next 2 are in Howard's backyard for where he's at right now.
Woohoo!
And we'll start off with the Los Angeles School District. So Mark, last News of the Damned, we had the Indiana school system with their test for Common Core.
Oh yeah.
iStep, I think it was called. The international, and they were...
Yeah, so you ran across this story, Mark. The Los Angeles School Centralized Standard Testing website, they were running a test to see if they were going to be ready for their end-of-year testing.
Yeah.
And the results were not promising, if I recall.
But at least you said they ran a test.
Well, this is Howard's got the right point here. I mean, even in iStep, they're being very public about the fact that they're not ready for this stuff. It's just not going well. Now in Indiana and now in Los Angeles, they're doing the right things, and so now they're experiencing the next level of difficulty, which is we ran some load and now it's not passing. What do? We throw hardware at it, network infrastructure or whatever.
Well, right? I have some questions. I have been asking around on the Indiana side of the house. It's a small industry. Within, you asking someone who asked someone else, we should be able to find out who is doing that testing. Kind of like the whole question of who is doing the testing on the site that shall not be named.
Yes.
Where we could not find anyone who was doing that testing.
That's right.
There was a performance engineer of any caliber. I've been asking around and I can't find anyone who's touched Indiana.
No, that's because mostly, James, because you scare everyone off the forums.
He's a big bully and he's scaring everybody.
They're afraid to step forward and say, yes, it was me. Which is, it's good. You're the enforcer.
No. I ask recruiters. It's like, have you ever recruited for this?
Yeah, no, they had. No.
And I talked to some big recruiters, and they're like, no, never seen anything.
James, don't worry. But I think we need to publish the 6 degrees of separation, the family tree of PerfBytes.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Right? We have the PerfBytes VIP list on the website, and so we could just put those people in a mind map. and start drawing all the connections in terms of relationships.
I think it's only 1 degree to the Ticketmaster CTO. I think I'm connected to him on LinkedIn.
There you go. That would be interesting. Or Tiger Air, who those guys were really awesome. We found them on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Anyway, to the Los Angeles schools as well as the Indiana schools, good Indiana schools. Good on you guys for actually doing load testing. Now you understand it's not as easy as it looks, and you can find all sorts of issues and shortcomings that your vendors didn't tell you about or your providers didn't tell you about. And to be quite honest, particularly in the educational sector, if you're interested in getting help from us, we can arrange, to do some pro bono work and help you guys out, because I know standardized testing is coming in close as 3 weeks away, 4 less than a month away. Probably April and May. So this is pretty serious crunch time for these guys. So don't hesitate to send us an email at ask@perfbytes.com. Ask, your question might be, what the heck are we going to do, guys? That's a perfectly good question, I think. And our last story. This is, what a full news of the damn. This is, it's not getting any better, is it, James? This is just the last couple of weeks.
Our last story is an example of what happens when you put a bunch of freaking artists together with technology to work with other artists.
What do you get?
You get a site that blows up.
Or just say blows. It just blows.
a site that blows.
Yeah.
So HBO was looking to encourage some people to apply for some writing fellowships.
Yes.
I mean, HBO has a pretty good track record of HBO original series, and things of that nature.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
you think these creative artistic types would be interested in working with other creative artistic types who put together the website to attract more creative artistic types, only they didn't bother to figure out if it would actually scale.
Yeah, bunch of front-enders.
But I'm sure it looked really, really pretty, and it was well written, and it will probably receive an award.
Of course. Stylistically, the HBO stuff does look beautiful. I mean, these guys, it's a wonderful part of the sort of visual aspect of their craft, but it's worthless if it just falls and crashes on its knees. What was the they said something that I thought was very intriguing and an interesting interpretation of the problem when some of the HBO people said, they put out a statement which was, the site was unable to handle the volume of activity at the time of launch. And that statement just seemed to have a nuance to it.
That's a very well written and very definitive statement,
isn't it? But it also it embellishes it with some drama that I think is maybe I could do it in a more dramatic way. The site was unable to handle the volume of activity at the time of launch.
Without a box, worked quickly to resolve the issue, but due to overwhelming number of applicants, the site is moving slowly.
In response to the demand for the program, HBO will expand the number of applicants. It will review and grant waivers to some who are unable to access the site at the time of launch.
Applicants may request a waiver by sending an email to hboaccess@hbo.com with request waiver in the subject line. Waivers will be granted on a first-come basis or until the new cap is reached, you suckers.
So just go waiver your chance. Goodbye.
I hate to tell all these people who are looking to become a writer, but have you considered it's who you know, not applying blindly to a website? Didn't your agent tell you this? I'm sorry.
Well, think about, punishing the innocent in true News of the Damned fashion. I mean, these writer people, creatives, they don't know what they're getting into, right? They use a device. They're on a tablet. They really are. They're focused on their craft and what they do, which is great.
You're absolutely right. They were probably all on tablets of some nature. They were all using wireless connections, which are very intensive on the servers. From
a coffee shop somewhere in Tribeca.
Yeah. And that alone probably added an extra amount of load that just tipped it over faster. They poked themselves in the eye.
Yeah. But HBO should know better. They are a large institution. And they do a lot of streaming. I mean, these guys should know better. So I bet this was a side project that didn't get funding in the main IT ranks in HBO, because we haven't heard HBO before on News of the Damned.
That's what I'm saying. This is a bunch of writers getting together and putting up a page for a writing internship, or fellowship, and it attracted other writers, and of course, that's it. Story's over.
But don't not to let HBO off the hook right now, because I don't think I feel like it. But if they've done all this, they must have processes and precautions in place to make sure things like this don't happen. So what do they do? Circumvent their own process? Or
exactly. It's a special project, and it doesn't have the oversight, or they never think it's going to be demand. It's all. But then the real issue, the statement they should be issuing to the public is, the site outage was unanticipated when Michael closed his laptop at the coffee shop that morning. And the site went down because it was running on his laptop. As soon as Michael gets back to the office and connects and opens his MacBook Pro, then the site will be back up. We're very sorry for the inconvenience.
Yeah, I'll go with that one. Yeah.
That'll be good. All right, James. Thank you once again for a riveting set of stories for the News of the Damned. We're full of people may not know this. It's like 1 a.m. we're recording, and we're getting really punch drunk and happy. Howard's on the West Coast. It's even getting late there now.
It's late all over the country now, Mark.
It is late. And the real lesson I think we're learning on this News of the Damned is it doesn't matter where you are. But if you're from the UK, chances are your website's going to crash. You could be the guy that works at HBO, probably from the UK. Hey, John Oliver is on HBO. He's from the UK. That could be the reason.
We'll go with that one.
John Oliver.
Yeah, thank you, John Oliver. It's just your fault, brother. We can't accept that. Just a quick little shout out to our sponsors, Smart Bear and Sosta, for their support of PerfBytes and News of the Damned. And Howard, when are we going to do that Performance Engineering Cafe thing? Let's start
when I'm home long enough to do it.
Yeah, let's start writing that. I wonder if we should replace Vincent Price's voice with like Beavis and Butthead. Dude, your website crashed. You said core.